Hey there, Truth Donut here, and I think we should talk about happiness. Why is happiness important? Well, to start, happiness has immense benefits. Hundreds of studies and over 250,000 participants have revealed that happiness makes people more sociable, altruistic, kind, improves their interpersonal skills, and much more. The long-term effects of happiness include better and more satisfying relationships, better careers, living longer, and being healthier. Happiness just makes us better overall, and being happy is good for our health. So if happiness is so good for us, how do we become happy? Some of you might say more money would make you happy. If you said that, you would be wrong. According to science, that is a big misconception about happiness. Researchers conducted a study where they compared the happiness levels of lottery winners who won jackpots and of regular people. Surprisingly, they found that lottery winners were no more happier than the regular person. The only difference they found was that the regular person enjoyed the simpler things in life and derived more happiness from talking with friends and laughing. They also found that lottery winners also did not expect to be any happier in the future. These findings suggest that money won't make you any happier in the long term, and you may not appreciate the simple things anymore if you have lots of money. Not everyone wins the lottery, so is there a difference between income level and happiness? In large-scale studies, research has shown that poor countries on average are less happy than wealthy countries, but this difference disappears once a country develops a modest gross national product, meaning that if a country is not extremely poor and has some sort of decent economy, they are just as happy as the wealthiest countries in the world. Other studies looking at the top 100 wealthiest people on Forbes found that the top 100 richest people were only slightly happier than the average person. This basically illustrates that having immense wealth won't make you that much happier. On a side note, one of my university professors told me about a study where they found that after you make about $70,000 a year, your happiness level will not increase if you make more every year, meaning that you will be just as happy making $70,000 a year as you would be if you made $500,000 a year. So to sum things up, money does not make you happy or give you everlasting happiness. This can be simply explained by psychology because as humans we get used to what we have pretty fast. Once we get a new toy or car or bigger house, we get a boost of happiness, but then quickly go back to our previous level of happiness. The famous psychologist David Myers said it best: thanks to our capacity to adapt to ever greater fame and fortune, yesterday's luxuries become today's necessities and tomorrow's relics. So with this, how do we actually cultivate happiness? Well, the bad news is that 50% of your happiness is determined by your genetics, which means that 50% of being happy is out of your control. Another 10% is composed of by your education, relationship status, income, and things like that which are not easily changed. But the remaining 40% is in your control and is determined by your daily behavior and how you perceive your life. With this knowledge, there seems to be a bit of a paradox in that most self-help advice emphasizes positive thinking and having a less negative perception in life. Although this seems intuitive and right, it is counterintuitive and even wrong sometimes. Suppressing negative thoughts or experiences can actually do more harm than good. A famous psychology experiment called the polar bear experiment, or Dostoevsky's white bear experiment, involved participants trying not to think of a polar bear during 1 minute. Every time a person thought of a polar bear, they had to ring a bell. Turns out, when you tell people to suppress a thought, like the polar bear, they can't stop thinking about it. This also applies to negative thoughts. Another psychology experiment asked participants to think of an upsetting experience. After that, half the group was asked not to think about the upsetting thought for the next 11 days, and the other half was asked to carry their lives like normal. At the end of the experiment, the researchers found that the group told not to think about the upsetting thought couldn't stop thinking about it over the next 11 days, which led them to feel more anxious, depressed, and having lower self-esteem compared to the other group. This essentially shows that thought suppression won't work. Decades of research has demonstrated this, and this is why asking dieters not to think about their favorite foods causes them to think about it more and eventually give in to temptation. In a nutshell, thought suppression won't work, and always trying to be positive by suppressing negative thoughts can do more harm than good. So if always being positive doesn't really work for happiness, what will? Short-term strategies include distractions, hobbies, and things that keep your brain occupied. These, however, are only short-term. For long-term strategies, I'll be doing another video. It'll be uploaded soon. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please like and subscribe. Talk to you guys next time.